Okay, so just when you thought your Friday night couldn't get any better, in comes your friends at Charlotte Sports Live. Hello, everyone. He's Gabe McDonald. I'm Mike Lacett. The Hornets weren't the only one flexing like this, but they did add some much-needed muscle to their squad. We'll tell you all about their newest free agent signing coming up. You're moving into a land of both grass and sometimes artificial turf. You've just crossed over into the high school football highlight zone.
All right, Grace, thank you very much. And all those things are true, except, yes, I am the guy. I am the guy that's picking the Panthers.
The ARCA Series race won by Tanner Gray earlier tonight. He was in contention in this Truck Series race for quite some time.
We make picks every week on the show. You got Bucks, Saints, Falcons. Are you picking Carolina to win any of those games right now?
Not one single one.
Not one single one.
You watch the Bucks.
The business he's talking about is esports, a business where, yes, actual physical trades exist. Give me a second. St. John is currently a star player for the Hornets Venom GT, operating under the gamer tag, Big Saint. It's a shoe. That's all it is, right? To some, sure, but not Michael Griffin.
Sneakers tell the story of your life. Every little scuff, every mark on them is the journey you've taken through life.
This pair has got quite the tale, a real rags to riches story. It's how one Charlotte man literally started from the bottom to become a sneaker king.
My whole thing was other people didn't believe in me, so I was like, well, I don't believe in myself.
It was 2020, and life had hit the 31-year-old hard. He was living with his dad and not quite sure of his purpose. Then one day began thinking about what he was passionate about, and it all came back to shoes.
It's a true expression of who you are.
But what happens when wearing a pair of Nikes just isn't good enough? Griffin wanted to do something more. He wanted to make the shoe pop.
Being able to do custom, you can make something that's truly you.
A great idea in theory, if he had the art materials and an actual art background, two things Griffin severely lacked. What he did have, however, was a stimulus check and a woman who believed in him.
He is very determined. If he says he's going to make something happen, he always makes it happen, no matter what.
And so the two set out on making the impossible happen. Money was tough to come by, but that didn't stop Griffin from becoming a master of his craft.
It's not going to happen overnight, so I just got it in my mind that this is something I wanted.
Before long, Griffin got pretty good. However, he still needed a break. Then one day, just prior to the start of the 2022 season, opportunity came calling.
I got in front of Brian Burns and got his shoe size and told him I wasn't trying to make a sale, that I wanted to get my work out there, and I bet on myself. And that truly is what changed our life at work.
Burns liked what he saw. He became a client, and soon a lot of his teammates did too.
LaVisca Chenault Jr., Derek Brown, Frankie Luvo, Xavier Woods, Chuba Hubbard.
The names keep on coming, but Griffin isn't running low on ideas. This one, worn by Adam Thielen on Christmas Eve, is based on The Grinch. It has TVs in it. Adam could have technically watched clips from the movie during timeouts. Crazy?
It depends on who you ask. I personally how cool.
They're definitely unique. But then again, so is the pair Griffin tossed up on the power line the day he and his wife opened up their custom shoe store last summer.
We're chasing a dream. We're working hard, and that's what it comes down to.
It's quite a story, and it's only getting started. Well, man, I tell you, when it rains, it pours. Another day, another injury for Carolina, and this one had the potential to be really bad. However, there is good news. Panther fans, you can relax. In case you hadn't heard, rookie Xavier Lacett hurt his foot during practice on Sunday, but as we learned later in the day, an MRI did not reveal a fracture. An X-ray was also negative. That's according to the NFL Network. Source tells me the 23-year-old wide receiver is considered day-to-day. Lacett is a South Carolina native and went to USC. If you recall, the Panthers traded up to get him in the first round this past spring. Overall, this has been a really tough stretch for Carolina as the team has been pounded by injuries. Obviously, we just talked about Lacett, but also this weekend we learned fellow rookie Jonathan Brooks will be out all of the preseason and possibly beyond. He's still recovering from an ACL injury he suffered in college. And then Thursday, we found out Andy Dalton will be out for a couple of weeks. He missed FanFest because of a quad injury. One can imagine all these injuries have been a major headache for Dave Canales as he tries to figure his lineup for this Thursday's first preseason game against the Patriots.
We're still working through that.
course, with Dalton out, Carolina is still on the market for another quarterback. The Athletic says there's a good chance they'll bring back Jake Luton, who had multiple stints with the team last season. All right, so the last time the Knicks played a Game 7 at the Garden, that's how I looked. I was 12, and it was 1995. I watched the game at home. My coworker Grace did not, because she wasn't born yet. Her birthday came just a couple of days after the Pacers stunned New York at the Garden. She was born in June. And so now, 29 years later, we go back to the Garden for what we thought to be another Knicks-Pacers classic. It turned out to be anything but, although we would not have known it in the first quarter. Both teams not backing down. Pascal Siakam and Dante DiVincenzo getting acquainted. Double technicals were called. Talk a little soccer, and boy, do I have a treat for you. We are going to go inside the mind, right there, of Charlotte FC head coach Dean Smith. With his team's Leagues Cup fate in the hands of another, he was feeling all sorts of emotions watching the game between Philadelphia and Cruz Azul. If you've seen Inside Out, you may recognize these guys. First off, inside Smith's head was anxiety. That's because if Cruz Azul won, his team wouldn't move on. Anxiety was running wild in the first half, because in the 41st minute, Philadelphia found itself down a goal. Carlos Vertundi giving coach all kinds of headaches. Cruz Azul a step closer to advancing, and well, now it's Fear's turn to take control of his emotions. Then, just when it seemed like all was lost, we have a tie game. 88th minute, Daniel Gazdag for Philadelphia, 1-1, and oh, now joy is reigning supreme. This is great. Still a matter of Philly, though, winning in PKs. That was the only way Charlotte was moving on, and ultimately it would not happen. Cruz Azul would go on to win in penalty kicks by the count of 5-3, and yes, that made Coach angry. Ugh.
Olympics game. Hard to believe. His first ever Olympics game. Isn't it?
Yeah, it was hard to believe. You know, it's interesting. I'm not sold on this Team USA team winning the gold. There's just so many talented teams in the Olympics, and this team is still gelling. There were two things that happened that broke this game open. The first thing was the fact that Kevin Durant went 10 for 10. That was amazing. LeBron also went 3 for 3, so your two big stars were 13 for 13
that helps.
In the first half. That broke the game open. But what really impressed me about this team was, in the second half in particular, the way they were able to catch Serbia off guard with their transition offense. Serbia may very well have good transition defense, but against the U.S., it was no match. This was the thing that gave the U.S. the big advantage in the '92 Olympics, was the way they were able to get on the break. Other teams just couldn't match it. It was like something straight out of an old Eminem song.
I was excited, that opportunity was just pretty cool.
And like Marshall Mathers, Panthers wide receiver DJ Chark wasn't about to let the moment slip, even if he was playing out of his element.
It was my first time really being in the studio with professionals.
It all started months earlier when his agent reached out to see if he was interested in being in the new Madden game.
I was a big fan. I've collected every Madden since 2000.
So of course the answer was yes. But as he soon learned, this wouldn't just be for his likeness.
This is going to be another first down.
You're playing a game and you hear yourself. That's crazy. So I was like, yeah, of course I want to try that.
To be included on this year's official soundtrack, Chark first had to make the cut. But while the 27-year-old had a name fit for the industry, he did not, in fact, have any real experience rapping.
It's your boy.
Undeterred but realistic about his chances, he sent out a demo anyway and hoped for the best.
I'm with the Panthers, and we rock blue. The other team, they clueless, don't have a clue.
After not hearing back, Chark figured he had missed out. And the 6-year veteran wide receiver most certainly would have, had it not been for a chance encounter in L.A. a few weeks later.
I met the team of Interscope who was doing the joint project with Madden, and he told me to come back the next week to come and record. So I made sure I was back the next week.
It's a sweep. Yeah.
He came ready to work, amazingly writing his part in only a half hour.
Deep in that jungle, came out with a meat. Got a tread like got 2K on my feet. Slide with the bros, I don't care what you think.
Quick, take me through the verse here a little bit, because I pulled it up here. Yes, sir, it's a sweep. Royal flush, read 'em and weep.
Got rid of Bronco, got SOTG.
While I can't say for sure I understand exactly what he's talking about, I can tell you I was impressed. And those that listened to him record his song Sweep that day apparently felt the same way.
I could tell they liked it, just from, head bobs and stuff like that. And everybody that's heard the song, complimented me on it, which is pretty dope.
So is making video game history, as Chark now is among the first set of players to ever appear on the Madden soundtrack. It's an honor he doesn't take lightly.
Something that, anytime I go back and I can always tell my kids, you know, hey, you can go back to this Madden and you can hear me on it.
Last of the real, yeah, my kind be instinct.
Eat your heart out, Slim. A star is born.